If you struggle with money, don't beat yourself up. A majority of us have struggles with money, and the habits that we have is something that continually keeps us in debt. You let me know, what do you think the number one bad money habit is that most people struggle with? Leave a comment down below and let me know. In this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share with you the 5 most common bad money habits that I've noticed a lot of people have. Really need you to pay attention to these 5 money habits, especially number 5. Number 5 is a money habit that I think a lot of people do not discuss, but it's the most important one. And trust me, when you hear this one, it's gonna resonate and it's gonna get you to a place where you're gonna break free and build wealth. The first money habit that we definitely need to remove out of our lives is the impulse spending. This is something that is very difficult. The majority of businesses out there make your shopping frictionless. See, those systems are not designed out of nowhere. They are able to track the things that you do and your spending habits. So unfortunately, it's really, really hard to beat that system because they know what they're doing. They know your likes and your dislikes. But the way to stop it is this: recognize what you're doing. Recognize you're about to make a purchase and why you're about to make this purchase. I'm gonna release a video very soon on this very topic, which is the first thought and the second thought. When it comes to impulse spending, the first thought is, I want it, and then we buy it. But the second thought is the one that we choose to ignore. And if you work on the second thought, which is, well, do I have the money for it? Do I really, really need it? Can I wait for this? Asking yourself all these questions, the why. Why do I want to buy it now? That will help you reduce your impulse spending. Number 2 is ignoring your budget. You took all your time to write your budget down. You know exactly down to the penny how much money you're supposed to spend every single month. But a majority of us ignore it. Some of us don't even make a budget, which means you're pretty much going around blind. What's interesting is you jump in your car, and if you don't know where you're going, the first thing you do is what? Plug in Waze, put your GPS on to give you guidance, to give you directions on where you want to go. When it comes to budgeting, we choose to ignore that. Our end game is to be debt-free, to build financial wealth, and we choose to ignore that. Now, for a second, close your eyes and imagine a life of being debt-free and having so much money you can make any decision in life that you want. It will make you excited. It makes me excited. But for some reason, we think that's something that can't be reached and it can't be attained. But the number one reason why is because we're not mapping out our expenses and our income. Please work on a budget and don't ignore it, because if you don't know where you're going, you can end up in a financial ditch and make yourself go deeper and deeper in a hole. The money habit that is destroying society, and it recently had reached the $1 trillion mark, is credit card debt and carrying balances on these credit card debt. The way I like to think of it is like this. You ever seen the whole Ghostbuster movies? They throw that weird contraption to catch all the ghosts. The credit card is the gadget they throw on the floor, and what they're catching is your wealth, your income. They're robbing you from your future. That's not to say credit cards are evil. It's not true, but it's a risky game. It's sort of like gambling. If you have an addictive personality, you shouldn't hang out in casinos. If you have an addictive personality, you shouldn't hang out in a bar. And when it comes to credit cards, you need to be extremely honest with yourself. Do you have the ability to carry a card? Now, I would tell you this, and I will answer this for you easily. You are a credit card person if currently right now you have 0 credit card balance. Perfect. You are the person that can use it. If you carry a balance, it doesn't matter the amount, then you are not someone to have credit cards. You need to cut them up, rip them up, and get them out of your life. Now, once you clean everything up and you feel you truly learned your lesson, you might want to go ahead and dabble back in it, because credit cards are not extremely evil. It has a lot of protections and securities and benefits in place for you. It's not meant for people who can't handle money. It's meant for the people who are building wealth and know how to manage money well. The 4th money habit is not saving for your future. This is extremely critical. You're only going to be able to work up to a certain amount of time, and you need to be able to pay your future self so your future self can have the enjoyment and the reward of all the hard work you're putting in today. Now, a lot of people don't have that mentality. They think of just today And they say things like YOLO, you only live once, tomorrow's never guaranteed. That's great. But what will happen if tomorrow is guaranteed? What will happen if you live to the age of 90? Now what are you gonna do? You had all this fun, and now at an old dying age, you are struggling. So simply creating an emergency fund and adding money to your 401k will be able to help you and help you navigate through this difficult time when you know Murphy is always around the corner. And once you have an emergency fund, that will handle all those Murphy events. Once you have money for your retirement, you won't need to be worrying about how long you're gonna work for. In order to do this, you don't need at first to be extremely aggressive. Usually people start things very aggressively and they fail. You want to turn the temperature up just a little bit so you can feel the heat, but not enough where it could burn you. Your job, if they have a 401k and they have a match, at least try to get the match. That is doubling your money. Then work on building your emergency fund. You could put 20, 5, 10, whatever amount of dollars you're putting into it is a good start. You want to be able to build, but once you get comfortable, at least at the minimum, put in 5, 10, 20, $100, that is progress. And the progress that you get and get the ball rolling will lead you to a point where you're not that person anymore who doesn't save for the future. From that moment, you decide to put $10 to $20 in your emergency fund. The day you decide to put the match on your 401k, you are now a wealth builder. And the broke you is the past, and the rich you is now going forward. If you're gaining value from this channel, I would love it if you hit the like and the subscribe and leave a comment. It means a whole lot for my channel. It's something fast, quick, and easy for you to do. But remember, the information I'm giving you is trying to help you build wealth. The least you can do is do those 3 things I asked. Thank you. Now let's continue. Here is the biggest money habit that is definitely destroying a majority of society's wealth. And this is the one I love to talk about and I love to address. It is comparative spending. Now, if you're new to this channel, I love 90s hip hop. And a lot of these rappers got me through a lot of times in life, whether taking a test in college, whether building wealth, whatever it is. Because there's sayings that they say that stick with me. And this one is one that sums up this bad money habit. And it's Jay-Z himself in Ain't No Love. What he says in that song is, what you eat don't make me shh. Now, there's 2 meanings of this line. The first meaning that I really need to explain. The second one is this. Don't make me shh is a slang term, which means you don't make me anything. And I love that line because if you think about it, what other people are spending, it doesn't give me anything. It doesn't give me happiness. It doesn't give me joy. Whatever they're spending, I don't need to match them, because if I match them, I'm not going to get the same feeling they are getting. So what that's saying is I need to focus on myself. I don't need to compare my spending to what other people are doing. I don't need to see what's going on in Instagram to see that's the type of life I need to live. I don't need to see how my friends are handling their finances to see if that's the life they want to live. I'm wondering how people are going to Italy, how people are traveling, how people are doing all these things that I want to do. Because once you start comparing, you start making yourself feel horrible, miserable. Then you start having FOMO, like you're missing out. But the reality is, you're missing out on nothing. If you are steadily trying to build wealth and building the right money habits, you are going to be in a point where you could do all those things. Now, some of those people are swiping using credit cards to show online, but this facade that they have this magical life. Some of them actually worked hard to get to that point and actually have the money to live that life. You do not know, and no one will ever tell you explicitly, listen, I travel, I do all these things because I'm in massive debt. Someone please help me. No, majority of people won't tell you as well, I make so much money that I could do all these things. No, so you don't need to compare yourself to someone who's not going to tell you the truth. What you need to focus on is yourself. And when it comes to money, it's simple, extremely simple. What it is this: spend less than what you make. And if you want to buy more, then make more. Simple, but you cannot just use credit cards and think you could swipe your way into that life. So stop worrying about being with the Joneses. Stop worrying about the Kardashians. Stop worrying about everybody's life. You look at your budget, you look at your spending, and you compare what you're doing to what you previously did. the old you? How did the old you spend compared to the new you? And I guarantee you, once you start doing that, there's two things that can happen. One, you can recognize you're just continually going in debt. You're swiping, and getting yourself into big trouble. Or you can see, you know what? I'm actually not doing as bad as I thought. The only thing I need to do is just refocus, change my budget, work on my spending, and I could get to the point I want to get to quicker. So there you have it. Those are the 5 money habits that's keeping a majority of us in society broke. The beautiful thing about this is, as long as you start to pay attention, you open your eyes, and you give it even minimum effort, you will change your path. You will change your trajectory. You will change your trajectory. Trajectory. You would change your trajectory, and you would get to the point of building wealth. I don't want to see you anymore struggling, especially when it's something so simple that you can change. So please listen to these 5 money habits and try each and every one of them. It will change your life tremendously.